Nature of household pillar. So today I'm going to talk about the nature of household pillar and what this means. For a lot of couples, they get stuck on this pillar because some couples might not be living together, some couples may be living in different countries, or for cultural reasons you may not be living with your partner. So there's lots of variables here. Not everyone is going to live together at time of application. So in this blog, I'll talk about everything you need to know when it comes to the nature of household pillar and what type of evidence immigration expects to see here. So what is the nature of household pillar and what does immigration want to see? Well, they want to see, are you and your partner living together? And if you are living together, what are your living arrangements like? So for instance, do you share an apartment together? Do you own the property? Are you renting? Are your friends aware? Are your family aware that you're living together as a couple? And what evidence do you actually have to demonstrate that, as opposed to just showing that you're living together as housemates? When it comes to the nature of household pillar, the number one question that comes up for couples is, well, what if we're not living together when we lodge the application? So surprisingly to a lot of couples, they're not aware of this, but there is no legal requirement to be living together at time of application. And this applies in lots of scenarios. So for example, a couple who are lodging an offshore partner visa, the sponsor might be in Australia and the applicant might be offshore. So they've not had the opportunity to establish a joint household. Or I've seen other cases where the couple can't live together for cultural or religious reasons or until they're married. So this doesn't prohibit someone from actually lodging a partner visa, because remember the legal criteria is that you need to demonstrate that you've either been in a de facto relationship for 12 months or in a spousal relationship. But it does complicate things where you're not living with your partner. If you're not living together with your partner, then I do recommend that you at least get some level of support with your application, because it might be higher risk depending on your circumstances. In saying that, the legislation says that you don't need to be living together at time of application, but if you are living apart, then you do need to demonstrate that it's only on a temporary basis. So in other words, that you're not permanently living apart from each other. We live with my partner's parents or we live with my parents. Is that going to be a problem for the application? So I've seen a lot of these types of cases, and it's not necessarily a problem for the application, but it just means that you might need to put in additional work to demonstrate your living arrangements. So as an example, if you're living with your parents or your partner's parents, you won't have what I call conventional type documents, like a joint lease agreement or joint utility bills, but it is still really important to demonstrate you are in a de facto relationship. So think of what other evidence you can provide when it comes to the nature of household. Are your parents willing to provide Form 888s? Are your partner's parents willing to provide Form 888s? Do you have any joint subscriptions or memberships together? Are you receiving mail to your joint address? These are all really relevant considerations when looking at the nature of household if you don't have some of the conventional type documents. We haven't lived together for 12 months before lodging our application. So again, this is where couples get stumped a lot when it comes to nature of household. They think that being in a de facto relationship for 12 months also equals living together for 12 months. But these two things don't necessarily need to align. So if you've not been living together with your partner for 12 months, but you still want to lodge a partner visa, you do need to make sure that you're still meeting the criteria of showing that you have been in a de facto relationship at least for 12 months before the application is lodged. If this sounds like you, then it does sound like you might need a bit more support, or to start with, some immigration advice around a partner visa. What other factors does immigration look at when assessing the nature of household? So we know that immigration is looking to see whether you and your partner are living together. We know that you don't necessarily have to be living together to lodge a partner visa, but remember that if you don't, you probably need more support with your application. But other things they look at when it comes to household is who does what around the house. So it might sound like a bit of a silly requirement, but immigration's interested in who does the cooking, who does the cleaning, who pays the bills, who does the driving, and if you have children, who's responsible for caring for those children. So a lot of this you might not have the evidence for, but this is where your relationship statements come in handy. So remember to use them and remember to be as detailed as possible. Where can I get help with planning out the evidence for the nature of my household? Well, this really depends on your circumstances. If you and your partner have never lived together and you don't have plans of living together when the application is lodged or while it's processing, I would recommend that at a minimum, you start with getting immigration advice and even potentially consider getting full support with the application. We love to help couples where we can, but we don't encourage couples to enroll with the Partner Visa Academy if they have a higher risk application. The best thing to do is to start off with an introductory session with me. This is where I can learn a bit about the background of your relationship and see whether we are the right fit to help you. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button and head on over to thepartnervisaacademy.com.au to learn more. Please note that this blog is intended for general information only and does not constitute immigration advice.